Sometimes a dog that once followed you everywhere suddenly becomes quieter and more distant. The dog may spend more time alone, watch from farther away, or respond less enthusiastically than before. For many owners, this change feels confusing, especially when nothing obvious seems to have happened. Dogs rarely change their behavior without a reason. In canine psychology, shifts like this are often connected to subtle changes in the environment or the social dynamics inside the home. Because dogs rely heavily on emotional stability, even small disruptions can influence how they behave. One of the most common reasons for this change is a shift in routine. Dogs quickly learn the patterns of daily life, from when people wake up to when they leave the house or relax in the evening. When those patterns change suddenly, a dog may take time to adjust. During this adjustment period, some dogs become more observant and less interactive. Instead of immediately approaching their owner, the dog may watch quietly from a short distance. This behavior allows the dog to understand whether the changes are temporary or part of a new pattern. Dogs also pay close attention to emotional signals. A person who feels stressed, distracted, or overwhelmed may unknowingly communicate those feelings through posture, tone, and movement. Dogs detect these signals long before humans realize they are displaying them. When a dog senses tension in the environment, it may create more space. This does not mean the dog has lost affection for its owner. In many cases, the dog is simply responding to the emotional atmosphere around it. Another reason dogs sometimes become distant is uncertainty. Dogs prefer environments where reactions and routines are predictable. When signals become inconsistent, a dog may temporarily withdraw while trying to understand what has changed. For example, imagine a household where schedules shift unexpectedly. Perhaps a person begins working longer hours or sleeping at different times. From the dog's perspective, the structure it relied on has suddenly become less clear. Observation becomes the dog's way of restoring understanding. Instead of immediately approaching, the dog watches more carefully and interacts more cautiously. This behavior helps the dog rebuild a sense of predictability. Interestingly, this distance is often temporary. Once the dog becomes familiar with the new environment or emotional signals, the behavior begins to change again. The dog slowly returns to its previous level of comfort and interaction. Dogs form their relationships with humans through repeated experiences. Every calm interaction, predictable response, and familiar routine strengthens the dog's sense of security. Over time, these experiences create a strong emotional bond. But when something feels uncertain, dogs rely on observation rather than immediate closeness. Creating space allows the dog to gather information about what is happening around it. In many ways, this distance is simply part of the dog's learning process. Dogs are also extremely sensitive to tone and body language. A slightly sharper voice, faster movements, or unusual tension in posture can signal to a dog that something is different. Even subtle shifts like these can influence behavior. Because of this sensitivity, dogs sometimes respond to emotional changes before humans even recognize them. A dog may become quiet or distant days before a person realizes they have been feeling stressed or distracted. What appears mysterious to the owner may be obvious to the dog. Once the emotional environment stabilizes, dogs often return to their usual behavior. The quiet observation fades, and the dog resumes its familiar habits of following, relaxing nearby, or seeking attention. The relationship settles back into its normal rhythm. This process highlights something remarkable about dogs. They constantly interpret the people they live with, adjusting their behavior based on emotional and environmental signals. Their reactions are rarely random. Understanding this perspective can change how owners interpret distance from their dogs. Instead of assuming the dog has become uninterested, the moment can be seen as part of a natural psychological adjustment. The dog is simply trying to understand what has changed. The next time your dog seems quieter or more distant than usual, the behavior may not be rejection at all. It may simply be your dog observing, learning, and making sense of the environment again. In the dog's world, understanding always comes before returning to closeness.